This choosing beggar thinks he's entitled to a free meal simply because he's renovating his kitchen. He'll come up with the craziest excuses to try and justify getting free food. Happy birthday if today's your birthday, and on with the revamped show. I have this friend, we'll call Z, that I've known since I was 8. I've tried to shake her off plenty of times. I just don't want to know her anymore. And there's always a sob story. Whatever. Moving on. Her and her mother had fallen on hard times, so they moved in with her grandmother, who owned her apartment. So all they had to pay was utilities and HOA, plus whatever incidentals they might have. This time last year, her grandmother passed away, leaving them the flat. Then, over the summer, a really bad hurricane hit, and their apartment was completely destroyed. They moved in with friends while the place was being rebuilt, but they were having some issues with the insurance because they hadn't technically been left the home. I don't know the specifics. That's not the point of this story. She and her mum dispersed to stay with friends and family. Around that time, I got engaged. Hooray for me. Immediately after, she sends me this message saying that instead of getting me a gift, she was planning on doing my makeup for my wedding, and then I would pay her the difference. Plus, she would use me for her portfolio. Z is an aspiring makeup artist. Respectfully, her looks are all very draggish. Not what I wanted for my wedding. Plus, I'm not inviting you to my wedding for the gifts. I would think someone who has known me as long as she has would know that's the bottom of my priorities. Just show up, dance, get drunk, bring Tupperware for the extra cake, go home. Enjoy my special day with me. Not a hard concept. But as I got closer to the date, she started quoting me her prices and telling me I needed to go to her house, which was 2 hours south, to pay her to do my text makeup. I could see why she wanted a wedding like mine in her portfolio. My parents spared no expense. The photographer alone would get her some awesome shots. Nah. She kept waxing it on with this story about how hard life was. Her grandma died, then 2 of her cats. Her mum lost her job. They lost their home. She was putting herself through beauty school and trying to start this business. What I ended up doing was I saw her price quote and asked her if I could just pay her outright to do the makeup for 2 of my bridesmaids, my mother-in-law and my sister-in-law, so they could have the treatment of getting champagne and snacks in the hotel while getting their makeup done. So instead of me giving her $50, I ended up giving her $500, including a hefty tip. Which is pretty cheap considering that's almost what my makeup ended up costing from a professional. This girl ended up being so late. She didn't have time for everyone. But once she saw the stack I had pulled out of the ATM, she rushed through it all. My cousin ended up wiping it all off and doing it herself in the limo because she looked, just as I predicted, like a drag queen. My best friend? I ended up having to fix her makeup. Mother and sister-in-law ended up decent, considering it's basically like cleaning a garbage bin and then dousing it in glitter. Can you tell I can't stand my in-laws? Story for another day. They tried to have me arrested on my wedding day. Didn't happen. I still way overtipped her. She's trying. I respect her hustle. We were super late to the wedding thanks to waiting on her to finish. Now, I know it's not my place to tell a grown woman how to live her life. I can only imagine the shade I'll get for this post. The first day of my honeymoon, we're waiting to get on our plane. I'm scrolling through Facebook to look at all the pictures of the wedding my friends and family are posting. Feeling so dang good, because despite all of the beforehand, I just got married to the best guy ever in the entire world. As I'm scrolling, I see Z has posted on Facebook, "Money to burn, going shopping." Okay. The next day, her IG has pictures of her at Comic-Con, holding up a few bags of clothing she just bought, and then modeling some of it. 2 days later, more Instagram posts. Now she's at Islands of Adventure in the Harry Potter parks. 3 days later, another Facebook post. "Some days I just want to give up. It's not fair. I worked so hard. to just be scraping by. Now I have to choose between bus fare and starving, with naturally a dozen friends chiming in to buy her groceries or take her out to lunch. She sent one of them a grocery list while suggesting rather pricey sushi restaurants in her area to the others. Last time I heard from her, she was asking me to be a model for a friend of hers in a photo shoot. I'm seriously nowhere near model standards, so this was fishy. Then she followed it up with, "And I'll do your makeup. You just have to cover the cost of X, Y, and Z." I just stopped responding to her after that. She seems to have it in her head that whenever she needs money, she can just con me into letting her do my makeup for something, and then ask for money, knowing I'll tip her double out of pity. Yesterday, my cousin from the wedding reached out, asking me how Z got her phone number. I honestly have no idea. Apparently Z caught wind that my cousin just got engaged, and is peddling her services through my whole family now. I know people who have done that exact same thing. They spend all their money on luxury items and the things that they really want, to the point where they don't have any money left, where they literally can't pay for groceries. So of course they then beg to their friends, who then bail them out because, you know, people need food to live, right? It's so manipulative because it plays on people's compassion. You've fooled compassionate people into thinking that they've given you money for your basic necessities, but the fact of the matter is they're actually paying for your luxury items, because you were supposed to set aside that money for your basic necessities anyway. The worst thing is you're doing this to your friends, or supposed friends, so now your friends are going to go without whatever luxury item they were going to purchase because they think they're caring and showing kindness for you. I used to work in a fairly small local restaurant in my previous hometown. It was pretty okay, fairly hectic during the lunch and dinner rushes, but other than that, it was easy part-time work while studying full-time. The restaurant was placed just across the river from the city business district, and a bit unfortunately because of that, placed in the more rough area of town. Still, no big deal most of the time. We got some junkies coming in every now and then, but most of them were really chill, except this one guy. So I was fairly new at the job at this time, when I got to encounter this particular dude for the first time. Let's call him Devin. I was used to working late nights due to my uni studies, and was pretty okay with it. Most nights during the week, we had our regulars come in. Chill mum with her extremely well-behaved daughter, which was always a bliss to serve. Local politician who never really said anything, but was nice in his own way. Good guy McWeed, who always came in 1 hour before closing, wearing his jammies, ordering everything. Then we got Devin. He must have lived fairly close, since apparently he comes in fairly often, a few nights a month. This was the first time I saw him though. He looked kind of scruffy, but I just thought he might be working in some sort of building trade, in which you'd probably wear rugged clothes for wear and tear. Devin walks up to the counter where I'm standing, while doing some pre-closing chores. I greet him with a smile. Devin barely looks up to greet me back. Okay, maybe he's tired, I thought. "Yeah, could I get some of that and some of that?" "Sure, no worries," I say, while I pack his food in some containers. "Would that be all for tonight?" Yeah," while walking up to the till. So that comes to a total of, insert price, I can't remember, probably around $9 or something. Yeah, so could I get this for free?" I'm having a bit of a confused moment for a second. "Pardon?" "Yeah, I was wondering if I could have it for free. I can't really cook food at home at the moment." "Well, no, I'm sorry about that, but I cannot give away food for free." Devin looking annoyed now. "Yeah, look, I'm renovating my kitchen, so I can't cook at home." "Well, I'm sorry to hear that, but I cannot simply give away free food because you're renovating at home. You'll need to pay." "Oh, come on, seriously? Couldn't you just let me pay half or something?" I'm starting to get a bit irritated now, as I'm not used to people begging for food, unless they're actually homeless and haven't had anything to eat. We had a regular like that come in from time to time, who I gladly gave a free meal from my own pay. But here we have a dude asking for charity, while someone else was renovating his kitchen. He was obviously able to pay for it. The answer is still no. I don't have my manager here, otherwise I'd let you speak to her, but the total is $9 and I have to ask you to pay. Devin is clearly offended by me, forcing him to pay for my services and food that the restaurant is surviving on by selling to people. "Okay, fine." And he literally throws 2 5s at the desk. and storms off with his food and without his change. You'd think this was the last time he would come in and beg for food, right? Wrong. He continued with his begging in different ways. Lost my wallet, I'm really hungry, can pay it later, and so forth. I asked my colleague about him, and apparently he's been renovating his kitchen a few times before. If the dude wants free food, I find free food deals all the time. You just gotta look them up online or download the restaurant's app. There are heaps of places that give away free food. But going in and begging, especially coming up with some lame excuse, is incredibly uncomfortable. What incentive does the cashier actually have to just give you free food and risk losing their job? So I work in a smallish company. It is good and pays pretty well. I work with the choosing beggar. It is horrible. I can write like a million different stories about her, but that is for another day. One day, our boss, let's call him Slim Jim, said he had a huge announcement for us. So he called us in to our large conference room. So you're probably wondering why I called you all here today. All of you know I don't call everyone in for a conference all at once. We can tell he is trying to build suspense. Well, all of you are getting new work computers. Everyone's face lit up. Right now as we speak, the IT department is backing everything up on some hard drives. But wait, there's more. All of us are wondering what else is going to happen. New computers? That is already really good. And corporate told me to tell you that we are not going to need your old computers, so at the end of the day, you can take them home. We just need IT to back everything up and set computers to factory settings. Everyone could hardly hold their excitement. So you can take the computer, just not the monitor. Not everyone heard him. Only the accounting department, which I'm in. Because we sat in the front. Okay, 1 hour till you can all go home. Start packing your things. Since IT is still working on the computers, you can go in the break room and socialize. Everyone went to their desks packing their things and headed to the break room. In 30 minutes, Slim Jim said IT had finished, but we still can't work since the computers are in the factory settings, so we can keep talking. 15 minutes later, Slim Jim told us if we want to keep our computers, that we should start to unplug everything. Everyone, and I mean everyone, headed towards their desk and started to unplug their computers. Now, I can just end the story here, and I really want to, but then it wouldn't be a Choosing Beggar story, would it? I started to hear screaming from my coworker. Let's call them CB. It's not fair. It totally is. I even mentioned it in the conference room. Well, I didn't hear you, and plus, how am I going to use the computer if I don't have a monitor? You're getting a free computer. Plus, how are you going to use your work computer without a monitor? Corporate can just buy me a new one. They're already buying me a new computer. I said no. Now you'll stop complaining or you get nothing at all. This seemed to annoy CB, but she complied. I can't believe that somebody would get something for free, then ask for even more. The nerve of some people. I know the hero of our story was surprised, but honestly, I'm not that surprised. Maybe it's because we go through so many Choosing Beggar stories, but it makes sense. If somebody's gonna get something for free, chances are they're gonna push the boundaries to see what else they can get. I think the sad thing here is there's no sense of appreciation for what they were offered, just a sense of entitlement that they deserve more. The Choosing Beggar didn't have to use the computer at home. They could have sold it for some extra cash and bought something else. Or perhaps they could have bought a really cheap secondhand monitor if they really needed to. So when I have a weekend off, I work at my local library, helping out and cleaning up and stuff. This is a very short tale about a Choosing Beggar who expected something a little unrealistic for the service we were providing. On this day, we were holding a used book sale, selling books that we feel people don't borrow often enough. A majority of the books are in a less than perfect condition. Some of the pages crumpled, and maybe a little torn, which could be expected, seeing as how it is a used book sale. This one Choosing Beggar really did not get the point though, and they came up to us, holding a copy of Stephen King's Dreamcatcher, which has been a little bit battered over the years. She came up to the desk and asked, "Hello, do you have a copy of this book that is in a slightly better condition?" "No, I'm sorry. We only have a few copies of that book, and we like to keep the ones in the best condition for the actual library." "But I want a perfect copy of the book." "And this is a used book sale. None of these books here are in perfect condition." "But this is completely unacceptable." You're a library after all. Exactly. A library, not a bookstore. If you want a perfect copy of this book, you can go down to a bookstore and pick up a brand new copy for however much it costs, or you can accept that this is a used book and will not be in perfect condition. This is unacceptable. I demand a new copy. Then you can borrow the newer copies on the shelf over there. Gestures towards our Stephen King selection. But I want my own copy. Sorry ma'am, this isn't a bookstore, and none of the books on sale are brand new. You can either buy the pre-owned books, or you can leave this establishment. The choosing beggar ended up buying the book and left in a huff. Personally, Dreamcatcher is one of Stephen King's weaker novels, so either this woman really wanted to own it, just to say she owned it, or she really wanted to read it. My thoughts are perhaps she was getting it for a friend. Otherwise, why else would you want it in perfect condition? If you own it yourself, after a number of years it's going to get into a bad condition anyway, and if you're reading it just to read it once, does it really matter what the condition of the book is? However, if you're giving it as a gift to a friend, chances are you want it to be in good condition so the friend thinks well of you. If it was a gift for a friend, I guess this person's a cheap friend, right? But you get what you pay for. If you want the book to be cheap, it's probably going to be used. If you want it to be in perfect condition, it's going to be brand new, and it's going to cost a lot more. Submit your story to be read on the channel at VoiceyHereStories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.